it's Christy. Welcome back to 52 Weeks of Beauty. It's been a really long time, I know, but unfortunately I've been through another crazy situation with my health. So I kind of just wanted to talk about it today because when I first experienced it, I went on YouTube, I watched a lot of videos, I got a lot of comfort from them, so I just wanted to share my story too. It all kind of started probably about 4 months ago, and I was extremely hot, like sleeping, like out of this world hot. So Pat had to like change the vents in the bedroom to make more air conditioning, you know, come upstairs. And he would wake up and be like, I'm so cold, I am freezing. And I would wake up and like there'd be a pool of sweat underneath me. So I just thought, you know, I'm going through menopause. You know, we've been struggling with fertility for a few years. Obviously I had endometriosis and all these other things. That's like a whole nother story. And I did a little bit about that in a previous video. So I just thought that I was going through like maybe a pre-menopause type of situation, you know, maybe I'm having some like mini hot flashes, or maybe this is what my new life is like now I'm just getting older and this is what I have to go through. And I kind of just brushed it aside, even though, I mean, during the day I would have lots of like hot flashes. And then a few months after that, I was starting to get like really bad headaches. Like every morning I woke up and I would be holding my head like, oh my gosh, like I just felt so not like myself, like so sick and so just, I mean, really not like myself. That's like the only thing I can say. And I walked down the stairs and my legs were shaking so bad that I was just like, what is going on? Like, why are my legs shaking? And, you know, I'm like, kept telling myself like, maybe I'm stressed out. So I went and I got a massage. And I remember laying there and my stomach was like moving up from my heartbeat, like rapidly beating for 30 minutes. I was like, is my heart ever gonna slow down? I'm getting a massage. Like I should be like calm within a few minutes. So I just like would see my stomach, just like my heart just moving my stomach out over and over again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And then like the next day I was eating soup and I went to go just take a bite and my whole hand was shaking. Like the whole spoon was shaking. And I was like, something is just not right. And so I would obviously go to Dr. Google and type in all of my symptoms. And pre-menopause, like, you feel horrible. You don't feel like yourself. You're really hot. You're really this. And I was like, that's me. That's me. And then one morning, it was like one of the worst mornings because I had been getting worse, like as the days were going on. And I just can't, you know, I woke up and Pat's like, how are you doing? I'm like, don't talk to me. I can barely move, and I just felt like I was gonna fall on the floor. I felt so bad, and I had been eating like a ton of food, like at least 3,000 calories a day. I used to, you know, compete in competitions. Every calorie, I really like pay attention to that just in general in life. So I was like, why am I eating so much? And I wasn't gaining weight. If anything, I think I was losing a little bit of weight. In fact, I know I was after I went to the doctor. So all of these things were kind of happening, and Pat was like, one morning, he's like, we're going to the immediate care, because my doctor was on vacation. I had an appointment with her, but she wasn't going to be back for a few days. So he's like, we're going to immediate care right now. So we went, and he took my pulse, but he didn't tell me what it was. And he goes, you know what, we're going to do an EKG on you. And I was like, does that hurt? You know, I've never had that done before. But they put all these electrodes, you know, whatever it is that reads your heart rate, I guess, in different parts of your body, or your pulse. And so he did that, and he took my blood pressure. My blood pressure is always extremely low, so I don't think, even if it was high, it probably wouldn't have alarmed him that much because he doesn't know my past history. But yeah, so we did the electrode, and he told me sitting there, he's like, it is either a thyroid issue, menopause, or you're having a panic attack. And I was like, I'm having a panic attack for like months, for weeks. Like, I don't think so. You know, I'm like, I'm stressed out because I don't feel right, but I know I'm not having a panic attack. So I was like, if I go home and he tells me I have a panic attack, like I'm gonna be so upset. We kind of sat there. Oh, he goes, or you could be pregnant. Yeah. I was like, that's not what it is. So then we do all these tests. They said they'd give me the results. They did 5 vials of blood or tubes of blood. Oh my gosh. So they said the next night or the next day I had the results, and it was about 6 or 7 at night, and the nurse called me. She's like, you have a thyroid disorder. You are very hyperthyroid. She's like, you need to go to Walgreens immediately and get on this medication tonight. And I'm like, I had like an hour before the pharmacy closes. And so I was like so panicked, but I didn't really know what that meant. It was completely out of the blue. I've never struggled with anything thyroid related. In fact, with fertility, I've had my thyroid checked 2 years in a row and it's been within a normal range. So I thought that was really odd. I think the other really odd thing was that morning, and I don't know if this is like timing or a blessing from God, but I'm gonna go probably with the second one, is my aunt had emailed me that she wasn't feeling very good, and she had said, like, you know, I feel so terrible lately, blah, 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 blah. And I remember writing her, like, why do you feel so bad? Like, what's wrong? And she said, oh, it's my thyroid. And I thought that was so weird because I was like, wait, she's my aunt and she's having thyroid and now this doctor says this. So then I told her my situation of what was going on and she goes, you have what I have for sure. I'm almost guaranteeing it because you have the same symptoms. I was 43 when I was diagnosed. This is her talking to me or her sending me the message. And she tells me my great aunt also had it. My grandma had lupus. These are all autoimmune disorders. I was just like floored. And she told me that she had done radioactive iodine. So you swallow this pill and it kills your thyroid. She said ever since she's been sicker than ever. And she lives this life. She's now 60. So she's been suffering for years. And anyway, she was basically telling me not to do that, you know? So I only had a few other options. And I'll get to that in a second. So when Pat and I picked up, you know, the medication, we also picked up a little watch to test my heart rate, and we get home and it was 113, and that was really, really like shocking. And I went upstairs. I remember the next day I didn't feel well because my heart was just so beating so fast, you know. So I went upstairs to grab something and I came down and I checked my pulse again and it was 135. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so scary. So I would like barely move. So I spent many of those days, you know, watching YouTube videos and hearing people's stories and seeing what my options were. And I did talk to, you know, I did have a lot of doctor appointments after that. I went to see an endocrinologist. I went to see my family doctor. I went to see the surgeon to get my thyroid out. There's a lot of talk about what are the next steps and what's going to be the best for me, and a ton of blood work. And it was a really, really stressful time because I just went from this whole other world of, you know, endometriosis and a million surgeries and complications with all of that to getting to a point where I felt a little bit better. And then this happens, and it just took my mind and our focus off everything else and put it on just my health and my day-to-day, like almost like surviving. Like I just wasn't feeling good at all. And so after seeing all these doctors, I mean, the last thing in the world I wanted to do was go through another surgery. You know, I had counted that I've been under anesthesia 9 times between surgeries and procedures within a year and a half. So I just was like, I just don't want to do another surgery, especially I don't want to get my thyroid out. I think that that is, you know, it controls your body temperature, it controls a lot of your hormones, it controls your metabolism. I mean, it has so many aspects to being such a vital organ. And you know, these doctors are like, oh yeah, just swallow a pill and kill it, or let's take it out, or you could keep it in for 2 years, but you have such a bad case that the pills that you're on for hyperthyroidism, they told me there's a max dosage of what is safe for somebody, and they were going to put me on double because she said, you have the worst case I've ever seen of Graves' disease. And this is the endocrinologist, I just stared at the ground when she told me that. Like, I didn't talk or say anything, and it was just a really, like, I think I was just in shock. Like, really? Like, this came out of the blue, and now I have the worst case you've ever seen. Like, hopefully you just started working yesterday, because that was a lot to handle, you know? And she told me that if I stayed on the medication that I would need based on my condition, that it would kill my liver within 2 years. So she really said, like, your only option, she goes, I'd say the radioactive iodine pill, except that your aunt has had a horrible time with it. So because you're like completely related to her, I would say no, don't do that. And then 2 other doctors told me the same thing. We would not recommend that you do that based on your family history. So we really think you need to get it taken out. And the one endocrinologist told me, she goes, I honestly think that you could have had a stroke had you not gone to the doctor, you know, like when you did. She's like, your heart rate and everything was so high, and your blood test numbers were so high, like my T4, I think it was like through the roof. And it was just really like a scary time for me. I didn't think that I, you know, wanted to do this surgery, so I sought out like everyone's opinion, you know. I was like, I asked the surgeon, are you sure? I asked my fertility doctor, what do you think? I went to my OBGYN even and said, is it a good idea? You know, I went to obviously the endocrinologist, and then I even sought out a naturopathic doctor and told her everything too, and everybody said yes, take it out, all of it, a complete thyroidectomy. I was so scared. I was so scared, but I was in so much pain. I can't even tell you how much pressure I felt in my heart. I've never been on like anti-anxiety pills or antidepressant pills or anything like that, because my mom struggles with all of that, and my mom has been mentally ill since I was 16, so it's a world that I don't want any part of as far as pills, but I had to go on Xanax just to sleep at night, because my body was moving so fast. Like I was like this, like I couldn't just sit still. My heart rate was like jumping through my chest, and I was on heart medicine, I was on this hyperthyroid medication, I was on all of this. So the Xanax did help me. I could actually like sleep and not, you know, Pat would just in the middle of the night be like, can you just please stop moving? Can you please stop moving? And I couldn't. Like I physically feel like the adrenaline in my heart rate was just, it was so intense, and my shakiness, and so that helped, you know. But then I just knew, like, I think I have to do this surgery, you know. So I did, and it was about 5 weeks ago. And when I woke up from the surgery, you know, I've obviously been afraid, and the doctors told me, like, if you didn't go through everything you've been through in the last year and a half, you wouldn't be so afraid to do this surgery. But I was, because it would mean I'd have to be on pills the rest of my life. You know, it would mean that I could gain a ton of weight, or my metabolism could completely shut down on me, or like all these fears that I had, you know, because now I'm going to not be hyperthyroid, I'm going to be hypothyroid, and I have to take pills to balance to be like a normal thyroid. So I had a lot of anxiety over all that, and so finally I just decided, you know, I think it's a good idea, and I don't know if I have any other choice, is kind of how I felt. But when I woke up from the surgery, it was like the best feeling in the world. When I woke up from the surgery, I don't even know if I could describe the feeling that I had, except everything up here felt peace, like ultimate peace. I felt so incredibly different that I thought it was like, is this in my head? Like, is this even possible? Because I feel that dramatically different that I wondered how long this has been affecting me. The surgeon said that this could be something that has been underlying. Even though my TSH results were okay in fertility the last couple of years, I could have still been messing with other parts of me and, like, you know, be kind of genetically there. And all of the surgeries and all the fertility stress just kind of brought everything to the surface. So basically what it is it's like you have a lot of antibodies that are in your body when you have stress, and they kind of, your thyroid thinks that the antibodies are more thyroid. So that's why it produces all this, you know, to burn all this calories and burn and have your heart rate so high, and your thyroid's so confused on what's going on. It's like, oh my gosh, more thyroid, but really no, your body's just trying to fight your thyroid and fight it and boost your immune system and help. And it's a big confusing world that's going on inside. And when I woke up, it felt like that confusing world was just at peace. And I know that it wasn't like the IV or the anesthesia or anything, because I had experienced all of that so many times over the past year and a half. I've never felt like that when I woke up. I have still continued to feel that way. I feel like something poisonous left my body. I feel like even the doctor told me, she goes, the endocrinologist said, your thyroid, your body is rejecting your thyroid completely. Like, it doesn't want it in there. And I asked the surgeon, is it normal after I had my follow-up to feel this great? And he was like, yes. He goes, a lot of people subconsciously feel that way. And a lot of people consciously feel that way, and obviously you consciously feel it. I was like, I feel it. I feel so dramatically different. Like it's crazy. I feel like on top of the world. I feel amazing. And I mean, honestly, like I haven't had any reactions weird to the medication. I, started 1 week with half of the medication dose, and then the next week I'm in the full dose, and we're still kind of have to balance with some blood tests to see if my thyroid is, the medication's making it fluctuate, or if we have the right medication dose for me. I did one test so far at like the 3-week post-surgery mark, and my TSH was already in the normal range. So now we just have to make sure that it wasn't really high and coming down, and now it's going to be even lower, or vice versa. So I'm doing another blood test this week. This will be my 6th week, I think, since the surgery, and basically that's my story. I'll show you my scar. When I woke up, I thought it was going to be like my whole neck, but it was just like 2-3 inches wide. That was like so nice. I have to keep cream on it and keep it out of the sun for about 3 months, and that's not hard for me because I want to make sure I don't have this big scar right there. The recovery afterwards was about a week, I'd say, of just some, tightness and some little pain. I had to be on some painkillers and some Tylenol and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything horrible at all. Once I got on the medication, I did gain a lot of that weight back that I had lost over the summer, like pretty rapidly within a week or two, that I got really nervous. But the endocrinologist told me about a book to read that I started 2 weeks prior to the diet. I started 2 weeks prior to surgery, and I've continued since. So I'm approaching my 8 weeks on this diet, and I have lost weight again, and I feel so much better. It's called the Fast Metabolism Diet. It's by Haylie Pomroy. And I definitely can do a more detailed review on that book and that diet and everything, but that has like completely changed my life. I have felt so incredible on that diet. It's like my favorite diet I've ever done, ever in the history of like my dieting world that I have been involved in since I think I was 11. I'm not kidding. This is like the most healthy, the most natural, the most just incredibly nutritious, like everything diet that I've been on. And I'm really thankful that endocrinologist told me about it. I think it had a lot to do with me feeling good after the surgery and continuing to feel this good. And yeah, so I feel great. And this is probably the best I felt in like 2 years. It's been a really rough road, and it's been a really hard time. And I know I haven't done a lot of videos. I've done a lot of nail things, but I haven't really been in the videos because it's been so challenging to feel good, and I've been fighting with so many things. But I just wonder how much this thyroid was bothering everything, behind the scenes, maybe longer than I thought. And I'm just so thankful that it's out, and I'm thankful for all the other people that have shared their stories on YouTube, because it's really helped me. And I 1,000,000,000% would do the surgery again, the total thyroidectomy. I think it was probably the best thing. I did have 2 nodules. They did test them. They're not cancerous, but over time that could have been. And I also did an ultrasound, and all my blood was going to my neck prior to surgery. So that's probably why another reason I felt relief. The antibodies didn't have anything to fight there anymore, so everything kind of just settled, and I think that's everything. So I wanted to show you guys my neck too. So if you're squeamish, you might want to like turn this part off, but I think it's healing pretty nicely, and the scar's not that big. So I think I'll just take this off. So I hope to do more videos. I am feeling so much better, and I miss you guys so much, and thank you so much for all the sweet comments you guys always leave under my videos when you say you miss me, because I miss you too, like major. And YouTube's one of my favorite worlds, and I just hope to come back to it and be part of it more. So hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you soon. Bye.